May I have your attention? Welcome to the University of St. Thomas 2015 Graduate Commencement Exercises. I have an announcement before we begin. Arrangements have been made for a professional photographer to take pictures of the candidates during the granting of degrees. Therefore, we ask that you refrain from coming up to the stage area or toward the aisles to take personal photos during and after the ceremony. We also ask that you refrain from using artificial noisemakers. If you have a medical emergency, please contact an usher or public safety officer. The ceremony will now begin with the academic procession. Please stand.
Good morning. My name is Richard Plum, and I am the Executive Vice President and Provost. On behalf of President Sullivan, the faculty, the staff, and the administration, I'd like to welcome you today to the University of St. Thomas graduate ceremony. Please rise for the singing of the national anthem, sung by Benjamin Nielsen, undergraduate music major, class of 2015.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing as Father Larry Snyder, Vice President for Mission, gives the invocation.
Good morning. Earlier today in Rome, Pope Francis beatified Archbishop Oscar Romero, who was martyred in El Salvador in 1980. And so I would like to begin our reflection today with these words that he wrote. I quote, "Each one of you has to be God's microphone. Each one of you has to be a messenger, a prophet. Let us not hide the talent that God gave us, and let us truly live the beauty and responsibility of being a prophetic people." Let us pray. Good and gracious God, on this day of celebration, we first of all pray in a spirit of thanksgiving. Thanksgiving for opportunities taken, for papers written, deadlines fretted, exams passed, and degrees attained. Thanksgiving for friendships gained, struggles overcome, maturity attained, and horizons expanded. Those of us gathered here, family and friends, ask your special and constant blessing on these graduates as they commence their professional lives. May they experience new opportunities and success. In the spirit and mission of this university, may they be moral leaders, who contribute greatly to the common good. And may we all have the prophetic voice modeled by Archbishop Romero that respects the dignity of all people and builds up the kingdom of justice that you ask us to fashion. So we now pray in the words of our patron, St. Thomas Aquinas, "Grant, O merciful God, that I may ardently desire, prudently examine, truthfully acknowledge, and perfectly accomplish what is pleasing to thee, for the praise and glory of thy name. Amen."
Please be seated. Today we celebrate and recognize the achievement of our graduates. Years of hard work, dedication, perseverance have enabled them to be here today. Rarely, however, do students make this journey alone. They rely on their parents, their spouses, their grandparents, their children, their siblings, and their friends. Graduates, what do you say we give our families and friends a round of applause for their support? Accompanying you on this journey are your faculty. They put in hours of dedication working with you, teaching you, mentoring you, and guiding you. At this point, I'd like to recognize the faculty. It's now my pleasure to introduce the platform party to you, starting on my right. Dean Mark Salisbury, College of Education, Leadership, and Counseling. Dean Barbara Schenk, School of Social Work. Dean Don Weinkauf, School of Engineering. Dean Terry Langen, College of Arts and Sciences. Dr. Joseph Kreiser, Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs. Dean Chris Thompson, St. Paul Seminary, School of Divinity. Monsignor Aloysius Callahan, Rector and Vice President, St. Paul Seminary, School of Divinity. Dr. Karen Lang, Vice President for Student Affairs. Professor Corey Carvalho, Chair of the Faculty. Our Mace Bearer, Professor Jean Barillas, Graduate Psychology. Dr. Carolyn Wu, President and CEO of Catholic Relief Services. President Julie Sullivan. Father Larry Snyder, Vice President for Mission. Mr. Mark Vansgaard, Vice President for Business Affairs and Chief Financial Officer. Ms. Sarah Gross-Mether, General Counsel. Mr. Doug Hennis, Vice President for University and Government Relations. And Ms. Amy Petra, President of the Alumni Association. At this point, it is my honor to introduce to you the President of the University of St. Thomas, Dr. Julie Sullivan.
Dr. Wu, graduates, families, friends, alumni, and my distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the University of St. Thomas, I join in welcoming you to our 2015 graduate commencement ceremony. I offer my sincere congratulations to the 577 students on whom we will confer graduate degrees today. We share your joy on this celebratory occasion, and we are very excited to proudly call you our newest alumni. We are confident that you are leaving St. Thomas with feelings of accomplishment and fulfillment, well prepared for the next leg of your journey, and with a renewed commitment for doing your part to advance the common good. We wish you a hearty Godspeed in the years ahead. Thank you.
It is now my privilege to introduce Dr. Carolyn Wu, a candidate for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters. The citation that accompanies the honorary degree is printed in your program. Dr. Wu is a native of Hong Kong and attended a Catholic school run by the Mary Knowles Sisters before enrolling at Purdue University, where she earned a bachelor's degree in economics and a master's and PhD in strategic management. She joined the faculty there in 1981 and rose to become Associate Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs. She became Dean of the Mendona College of Business at the University of Notre Dame in 1997, serving there for 14 years. In 2012, Dr. Wu was appointed President and CEO of Catholic Relief Services, the overseas relief and development agency of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. The organization annually reaches 85 million people in 100 countries, guided in its work by 8 principles. One of those principles is the common good, which Catholic Relief Services has defined as social fabric that allows all to grow and fully develop. We at the University of St. Thomas find resonance with this definition of the common good, which seeks to advance in our own mission through our students who become morally responsible leaders who think critically, act wisely, and work skillfully. Dr. Wu, we are proud today to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, for your selfless pursuit to see the face of God as you have written in the crops from a successful harvest, in the clear water of a new well, in the cry of a healthy baby, in a child's education, in peace replacing strife. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I guess the first thing I should say is hello, fellow graduates, since now I also have a degree from St. Thomas. The first thing I want to say is, of course, thank you to Dr. Julia Sullivan, to St. Thomas for this incredible honor. I just want to say I've known Dr. Sullivan for a while in our various careers. She came up through business schools, and I know her from the University of San Diego. I also know Professor Michael Norton for his work and incredible leadership of the Catholic voice in the business world. And I'm also a very good friend of Father Larry Sullivan. I just want to say to have such distinguished people, Dr. Sullivan as your president, Dr. Norton as part of the faculty, Father Larry in charge of mission, give me a sense of the very good hands that you are in. These are people who are excellent in what they do, but more than that, deeply committed to the students and deeply committed to the Catholic mission. And so I just want to say it's a privilege to be with all of you and to be with such fine people. These are people I look up to and have a lot of respect for. So I just want to say, please give the faculty, the administration, a very big hand. I just want to say, I usually like to take some time to be quiet by myself if I do a talk. And I set up in one of those rooms, I think up there, where there is a glass. And I looked down at the people. And at that point, there were no graduates, right? You have not processed in. But I saw your family. I saw how people came early to take the best seats. I see families of different ages. I see little children. I'm sure that there are uncles or parents who are graduating. I see parents and grandparents, And it's just such a sense of the feeling of family. I just want to say, I left my program on my chair. All of you have a program. I just want to share a little anecdote with you about these programs. When my father passed away, I went through his things, and this is now in 1981, and among his treasured box was my commencement program. And of course, it was dog ear to the page where it had my name. 2 years ago, my older sister, who was just one above me, passed away, and I went through her things, and among her things was also my commencement program. I know to many of you, the graduates holding that program, you put it in a box somewhere, you'll be moving. I'll be sure you have extra copies. The program, I think, is such an important memento of a journey that begins even before you were born, when your parents had conceived you and they were thinking of a name for you. And in that name, it held so many dreams. It held the legacy of a family. You're probably named for someone in the family, possibly, or you're named for some characteristics that your parents usually associate with that name. Regardless, there was a lot of dream behind the name that is given you. And of course, the aspirations for the children. And beyond that, the sacrifices, the love, going through the difficult times with you, but also the celebratory times. So this is not just a moment about our graduates' achievement, as great as those are, but this is a celebration in the life of a family, of the love, the bonds, the dreams, and the sacrifices, which bring us all together today. So again, let's give everybody a big hand. As I was thinking of the comments that I would make today, I usually take in the different experiences which I've had recently and also the season of the year. Clearly, as Father Larry mentioned, this weekend is the beatification of Archbishop Romero. Those of you who have not read about his life really should, as he's truly a saint of our time. But I think his story also tells us about the society that he operated in. And I think there's a lot of lessons to learn about that society. At the same time, tomorrow is Pentecost Sunday, the feast of the Holy Spirit. And so in that particular context, I chose a theme. And the theme, I usually at graduation and commencement talk about grace in a competitive world. And it's really a big umbrella. I could drive a truck through it. And today I decided one theme within that topic is the journey from a job or even a career, which is a meaningful progression of your jobs, to vocation. From a job to vocation. And what I'm going to talk about is, what is the difference between a job and a vocation? And how does one get there? I'm going to begin with a story, and unfortunately it has to be my story because I don't know other people's stories really well. But I think probably in my stories are many different people's stories. And I usually like to start where the graduates are. So this is graduate programs, right? So I'm going to start sort of when I began my graduate programs, and when I finished actually. So I went to Purdue University from Hong Kong. I started in 1972 with only 1 year of tuition and expenses. From 1973 to 1979, I finished my degrees, my undergraduate, my master's, and my PhD, and 6 out of those 7 years were paid for by scholarships and fellowships. So I began my journey with a deep sense of the incredible blessings that made my education possible. My first job, I've never worked outside of the university, actually. I arrived at the university when I was 18 years old. I lived in a dorm most of the time, and now I was 25, and newly married, and I was very excited about starting a career. I was very excited to start at a very large automotive company. I felt like, wow, that's the American dream, to work in a very large company, and my area was strategy. Now, I can't make this very long because otherwise we'll be here the whole day. My job was an analyst, particularly an analyst to look at acquisitions of foreign companies for this automotive company. The rationale for the acquisitions are actually not very strong, except that we had a general manager who understood that if he could make an acquisition happen, his career would leapfrog. So it was more for a personal reason, but as a young analyst, I had no idea. So I was running numbers all the time. And in those days, you run numbers with a calculator but no computers. There were no Excel spreadsheet. Whenever you make changes to your spreadsheet, you have to erase it, put in by pencil a new number, and then flow through all your financial statements. In that process, I found three things. We were actually trying to use numbers to construct the reality. We were not using the numbers to reflect the reality. There was such a strong desire to make the acquisitions. The whole idea was get the numbers that would allow the case to move through. Well, I was quite young. I eventually got a sense that my numbers were not very good because in the end, it was not so much based on analysis, it was based on sort of what is the picture that we need to depict. The second thing was that I was working for a man who was completely inconsistent. In the morning, he would say one thing. In the afternoon, it would be another thing. It was getting to the point where I didn't know whether the person lied or whether the person could be relied upon. I started in September. By January, one night I was driving home and I was working late hours and my car got into a ditch. And I was very vulnerable. It was at night. It was the time before cell phones, and I had to wait along the road, which was in a rural area, to wait for someone to give me a ride home. I was completely vulnerable. In that process, I asked myself, is this what I would like to be doing? Around that time, a consulting firm approached me and offered me a job. And actually, it was introduced to me by my former professor. I quit the large automotive company after 6 months. And I was relieved to be out. A few months after I left that job, I found out that my boss was actually an alcoholic. And he actually died in a car accident. He would leave work in the middle of the day, he would go to a bar, he would hide his vehicle, he would drink, and then he would come back to the office. And he actually died in an accident where his car hit a pole. So I started my second job in 6 months after my graduation. Now I am with a boutique elite consulting firm. It could not be more glamorous in my little mind, right? I was working for the chairman of the firm out of Cleveland, and the firm itself was located in Washington, D.C., and actually in the Watergate Hotel, which is a piece of very expensive real estate. So I felt ready to go. I had my PhD. I would be supporting this chairman, and I would go to D.C. to work with the rest of the team to develop consulting proposal. After a while, not long actually, I found that I really didn't like it. So I traveled every morning, every Monday, get up at 4 a.m. and get ready, leave the house at 5 a.m. My husband drove me to the airport, and I would go on a plane, and I would be gone for the whole week. It got to the point that whenever I go to the Cleveland airport, my heart would sink. I hated it that much. And it actually started affecting my Sundays, when I knew that on Monday I would be traveling. And even nowadays, when I go through the Cleveland airport, I remind myself, I don't have to fly out of this very often. It's okay. But that natural reaction of every Monday morning that my heart would sink because I was going away for another week. I also didn't quite fit the culture of the elite consulting firm. First of all, most consulting firms have a set of frameworks. That are the tools. And those frameworks is what you use to apply to every problem. And so we have a hammer, and every problem looks like a nail. And having come from a PhD program where you're advised, you're trained to think very broadly, I just couldn't get used to the idea that all I had was a hammer, and to everything we just hammer away. There was also a sense that we knew better than our clients. We always had the answer, and it was not acceptable to not have the answer. And in the end, I also felt like I was an outsider. I felt it very strongly. I was a Cleveland person who came to the Washington, D.C. office. I was this PhD from a Midwest university among a lot of MBAs, from the most elite East Coast and West Coast universities who were very comfortable with the investment industry and the corporate culture, and I was not. And I was not deriving life from what I was doing. So it was time to honestly ask myself, is this really for me? Purdue University came calling and said, Carolyn, now you have your PhD for about 2 years. If you ever want to go back into academia, this is the time. Otherwise, you will lose your window. I said, okay, great. Yeah, I really want to go back to campus. My 2 years told me that even though I wanted to go out there for a lot of glamour, big numbers, when I was a doctoral student, I said, I've never dealt with millions of dollars. It would be fun if I could do some projects that had that level of scope. Well, I experienced that, and it was a big deal, but only for a very short period of time. So I let it be known, yes, I will be coming back to academia, and one of the big elite schools wanted me to go interview for a position, which I did. At the interview, one of the persons said, our students, who are better than everybody else, like to test their new teachers, particularly a young woman instructor. The last female instructor we had, the student threw a pie at her at the beginning of class. And they asked me, well, how would you handle that situation? I thought about it and I thought, how rude. But the only answer that came to me was, not very well. Okay, how would you handle anything if a student threw a pie at you? I said, not very well. So I didn't get the job offer, which is fine. So I went to Purdue again. So I returned home. And from then on, I spent my career, and I was so very, very happy. During my time as a faculty member, I taught any new course that people asked me to teach. I thought of that as a way of learning. At a certain point, they asked me to run the MBA program, and I was a graduate of that program. And also actually knew how good it was because I knew the faculty, I knew the substance. I knew that even though Purdue was not one of the top whatever MBA program, that it had the substance. I said yes. It was a way for me to give back. And within 2 years, the MBA program became a top 20 program. And the faculty and students said, there's no way we would be at the top. There are 50 states. Indiana, the state, already has IU as one of the top 20. There would be no way that Purdue would be a top school. Never mind, it became a top school. And it's not because of what I did, because I was only in that role for only 2 years. There was so much potential. It was a matter of getting people to believe in themselves and also to unleash their energy. I was then recruited to go into the provost's office to do planning and quality improvement, and was having such a good time. Then Notre Dame came calling, and I said, no, I'm not interested. You couldn't do more for me at Notre Dame than what I have at Purdue. Then one day, I went to daily mass, and when I came out of daily mass, it was as clear and compelling as anything where I felt like I needed to go to Notre Dame, that I was not willing to go because I had everything I needed at Purdue. It was a safe and supportive environment for me, and I didn't want to take a chance. It was also the homily later on, that period, about the servants, the one who had the many gifts and the one who had the one talent who didn't do anything with it, who buried that talent. So out of the blue, there was this sense that I needed to go. So I told my husband, I said, I cannot explain this. It is irrational. I'm going to leave the provost's office. I have mentors who really wanted me to become a Midwest top 10 university provost, but somehow I'm going to go and be the dean of Notre Dame. And I cannot explain it. There is no rationale except that there was something that happened at Mass. So I went to Notre Dame, and my real mission there was, what is a Catholic business school? How does it differ from other business schools? What are we called to be as people in business if we are Catholic? And I said, I know I am going for that particular mission. I went and did that, and it was the whole idea of success. How do you achieve it? What is ethics? And in the end, what gives people courage? What is the role of faith? And what does faith cause us to do to be in business? During that period of time, I met my mentor for life, Father Ted Hesburgh, who just passed away. And in my first meeting with him, he told me two things. He said, mediocrity is not the way we serve the Catholic mission. Go for excellence. And the second thing he said was, for all occasions, anytime, just say, come, Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit will be with you. That was his advice to me, and I lived it every day, even today. There are some times when I deal with such difficult issues that I feel like leaving a chair empty to indicate that that is for the Holy Spirit, and that the Holy Spirit is with us. And I deal with a lot of very difficult issues. In the years that I was at Notre Dame, the school ranked to raised to number one in undergraduate business school, and at the same time, it also got the top rating for ethics. And again, it did not start out as a desire for high rating. It was a desire to be true to what a Catholic business school is about, and also to earn the trust of students and parents who made such a steep sacrifice to pay the tuition for their students and kids to come. It was the idea that if we are responsible for educating our students, we should be responsible in placing our students, that there's a lot we can do to help them launch their career. I remember when my team told me that we had achieved a 90% placement rate, that was very good. And I said, what happened to the other 10%? Didn't they pay tuition also? Didn't they do the assignment? Didn't they also get the grades? And so we redoubled our effort to make sure that everybody was fine. And finally, Catholic Relief Services called. And this time, I would have to give up tenure, which actually for a Chinese immigrant is unheard of. Not to mention that I'm going into a field that I know nothing about. I do not know much about international development. My first year, I carried a map of Africa with me everywhere I went. But 2 points there. When the bishop who was chairing the search called me and said, we would like you to be a candidate, I thought it was really funny. I thought they wanted me as a diversity candidate, and I was kind of irreverential. I was laughing. And I said, oh, Bishop, if they asked you to do this, what would you do? And he said, I would get down on my knees and pray, which I did. But the second thing I did was that I had a spiritual advisor who worked with me for 6 months. My first meeting with him is I said, Father Ken, I have thought about everything, and I have my decision tree. I have my pros and cons about this, but I could not make a decision. And he said, you don't need to think. You don't need to analyze. You are an analytical person. If that would have given you the answer, you would not be here. And he said, it's not about pros and cons. It's about joys and fears. And he said, just carry a pencil with you, piece of paper. Anytime it comes to you, feeling of joy or fear about this issue, just write it down. You don't have to work at it. Your heart will speak to you, and it's about joys and fears. So here I am standing in front of you, and I just want to say there are 5 things I have learned from this journey. The journey of starting with a job to ending with a vocation. The first thing is, and I'm going to have 5 points, is that you know when you are flourishing and when you are not flourishing. When you are not flourishing, give it a little bit of time, but get ready to go. You will flourish in a situation that use your strengths, that actually develop your limitations, that makes you feel like you belong, that allows you to meet your most practical needs, and finally honors you as a person. It doesn't designate you as an outsider. But the first thing is that all of us knows it. When you get up in the morning to go to work, whether you are flourishing or not flourishing. The second point is that at certain times, when some of your most basic needs are met, you will begin to turn your focus outward. Instead of questions about you, what you want, it will become, what do you want to give? And for me, it began with, what do you want to give back to a university which has given me my whole education? That was the beginning of my journey of vocation, is when I recognized that I wouldn't have an education if not for the fellowships and scholarships, the love and the support I received at Purdue, and it was a time to give back. So at a certain point, it's no longer about what you want, but how you want to use yourself and what you want to give back. It goes from just extrinsic criteria that you attach to a job to an internal sense, an intrinsic sense of gladness. You will feel that. Gladness of the heart. The third point is that when you are in that situation, it will take you out of your own limitations. When you are ready to work for a bigger cause, you will move out of your own limitations. Your limitations will not scare you. You will go and learn. You will seek answers from other arenas, expertise, technical areas if you need. You will reach out for other people to help you do your job. You will manage your ego so that you could become a better leader, a better server of the cause that you stand for. You will overcome your ego so that you could admit mistake for the bigger good. So once you are there, you will actually exceed your own limitations. And I think that's sort of the Holy Spirit working in us. The fourth of 5 points is that you will draw other people to you. Vocation is magnetic. There is a life force associated with people who really care and care deeply. That type of life force actually creates an invitation to and a space for other people to also work on their vocations. Like will attract like. If you are deeply committed and generous and work for what really matters, you will find those people, or they will find you. So there is this magnetic force. The fifth thing is that you will experience God. You will know the power of the Holy Spirit working in you. You will understand the gifts which are in your lives and what those gifts are meant to do. You will have a sense of purpose, and a purpose which is unique to what you have, the blessings, the talents, the love that you have experienced. As Parker Palmer said, a vocation is not a price, is not a goal which is out there. Is when you recognize the self-gifts from God and how those gifts really define who you are. And like Frederick Buechner said, is when you recognize what comes in from the deep and reaches out to a deep need in the world, that's when vocation happens. Parker Palmer also says, you don't have to go and listen to the outside and sign up for a lot of seminars to find out what is my vocation. It is not something that comes from the outside, but it's something that comes from the inside out. So as I end, I just want to say one of my favorite writers, Eleanor Powell, one time says, who we are is God's gift to us, and who we become is our gift to God. And we become through our daily life, through our daily work, through our relationships, through who we are, we turn ourselves back as gifts to God. And coming back to Pentecost, I think you should all think of yourself as walking around with a tongue of fire on top of our heads, that we are light and we are power. And when we do this work, remember how it seems like the apostles were speaking in tongues? But what is more important is regardless of what languages other people have, everybody understood. And it is because vocation comes from love, love comes from God, and that is a universal language. Go with God, class of 2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wu. At this point in the ceremony, we will begin the presentation of the candidates for the degrees with doctorate candidates.
I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Doctor of Education in the field of leadership. Hakindal Hadaini. Bonnie Bonson. Edna R. Comedy. Purnima De Souza. Matthew Warren Fish. Diane Fittipaldi. Nora Ann Flom. Gay Linnell Grimes. Josh Allen Hangamule. Emily Diane Hines. Sophia Jacobson. David Allen Johannick. Janet Johnson. Bonita Ann Jungles. Matthew Lawrence Capel. Deborah Faye Coland. Chucks Madoff. Kirk Edward Nelson. Kara Rickenberg. Elise Shebler Roberts. Carrie Therese Rock. Lisa Ann Rowan. Reverend Karen Lee Shooter. Amy Bernice Helen Emma Schuler. Nathan James Sherman. Andrew John Volmuth. Kevin John Witherspoon. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Doctor of Education in the field of Organization Development. Chato Blue Hazelbaker. Karen Marie Lang. Julie Marie Loosbrock. Robert Joseph Randall. Robert Thomas Sikora. Mary Frances Slack. Joseph Peter Zandlow. I have the honor to present to the President of the University candidates for the degree Doctor of Psychology in the field of Counseling Psychology. Michelle Benoit. Laura Jean Brinkmeyer. Erin Therese Frederick Gray. Leah Rochelle Gaz. Christina Perkosh Gill. Amy Marie Gold. Claire Elaine Hedeke. Emily Ann Hedberg. Angela Margaret Heitzman. Tara J. Jansen. Randall L. Morris Ostrom. David Connor Nathan. Molly R. Welch. Catherine Lee Wright. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Education Specialist in the field of Educational Leadership and Administration. Amy L. Bellis. Kimberly Ann Bolison. Kelly Ann Bredekin. Teresa Jean Campbell. Jennifer Marie Carter. Vana K. Dinsey. Gina Marie Doe. Julius Oromaselli. Ryan Derek Finke. Beth Ann Vladimir. Jonathan Eli Friedman. Anne Marie Grainer. James John Nelson Hawthorne. Adriana May Henderson. Libby K. Huddle. Sarah Letitia Caparud Hunst. Jasper Ramirez Johnson. Anna Christina Knapp. Erin Mercedes Kilo. Kelly Lynn Langdon. Sarah Ann Lapp. Elizabeth Lam Marin. Timothy J. Maurer. Carmen K. Meyer. Gina Lynn Miller. Heidi Gratina Onis. Christina Sobaski Ramsey. Maria Sinja Rollinger. Carrie Lynn Simonson. Jennifer Marie Slayton. Jennifer Barbara Snowback. Holly Aaron Standkey. Jonathan Matthew Summer. Monica Ray Summer. Chad Timothy Thorpe. Adam Frederick Roy Tillotson. Christiana L. Ward. Veronica Ann Westerman. Caitlin Valentine Willis. Rachel Marie Winkler. Daniel James Yetzer. Kimberly Rose Zelmer. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Educational Leadership and Administration. Julianne Lewis Stankey. Shakita Siobhan Thomas. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of International Leadership. Peter David Draxler. Hoda Mohammed El-Gawahi. Ricky L. Faust, Jr. Susan Renee Hastings. Jonathan Carl Holman. Ray Michael LeBaron. Edmund B. Enge. Taylor Jacob Shufflebean. Alexander Singdo. Elizabeth Ava Standert. Brisa Belen Zubia. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Leadership and Student Affairs. Maggie Wynn Blackman. Courtney Catherine Crayley. Hannah Dinku. Jessica Marie Girdy. Leah Jorenby Glantz. Leanda Arnice Jenkins. Kate Olivia Larson. Calvin Chase Logston. Carmen Caitlin McGahee. Jonathan Paul Mergens. Catherine Isabel Hines Perro. Savannah Lee Pearson. Sarah Jean Snyder. Laura Mae Stitsworth. Alexandra Lynn Warloff. Paige Riaphil Wheeler. Jeremy Lloyd Williams. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Public Safety and Law Enforcement Leadership. Renee Antoinette Dunn. Michael John Hankey. Thomas Lloyd Hooper. William L. Magnuson. Jeremiah Jonathan Mahler. Todd Samuel Nagby. Christina Marie Olson. Ronald W. Pedries. Michael James Peterson. Jeremy John Ryan. Joseph Anthony Ventre. George Herbert Vinson. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Public Policy and Leadership. Shamise Butler Anderson. Samuel Alexander Brown. Mary Claire Elizabeth England. Nikolai Jorgen Clevin. Christian James Knox. Samantha Lynn Mortensen. Lindsay Marie Schwab. Kimberly Culp Smith. Kaylee Ann Taffy. Elizabeth Ann Wallace. Madeline R. Wood. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Academic Behavioral Strategist. Katie Ann Forsyth Katzner. Nicole Lynn Paddock. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Autism Spectrum Disorders. Rachel Marie Adamek. Naj Abulaziz El-Kathiri. Isaac Kumakech. Ahmad Said Alagamdi. Marwan Junabir Akulhardi. Allison Marie Burgess. Mary Kay Byrne. Ashley May Danielson. Catherine Marguerite Sear. Catherine Ann Fladebo. Mai Nia Hare. Suzanne Marie Jurek. Kate Ann Krasinski. Barbara Louise Odiambo. Ashley Christine Reavers. Megan Marie Torfin. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Developmental Disabilities. Christine Mary Finch. Deidre Ann Ketchell. Kristen Emily Larson. Danielle Lynn Roos. Andrea Michelle Smith. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Early Childhood Special Education. Farah Kasim Laka. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Emotional Behavioral Disabilities. Kathleen Marie Cruz. Kevin Edward Krasinski. Kelly Sue Luca. Gregory Allen Miller. Stacy Todd Noyes. Kristen Dawn Spitzner. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Gifted, Creative, and Talented Education. Corey Poulet. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Learning Disabilities. Mustafa Muhammad Ali. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Special Education. Rochelle Ray Holston. Sister Mary Kathleen Roth. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Curriculum and Instruction Education K-12. Kayla Jean Beeman. Megan Lee Logreen. Jessica Ray Thompson. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Teacher Preparation Elementary. Rebecca K. Larson. Anne Elise Meitzer. Renata Joy Olson. Andrew David Skirka. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Teacher Preparation K through 12. Jennifer L. Griffiths. Michael S. Jeffrey. Yu-Chi Lee. Yi Long. Taylor Catherine Swartz. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Teacher Preparation Secondary. Khalil Mayoud Al-Nufi. Kirsten Nicole Hogenacker. Emily Catherine Olson. Hannah Jean Osman. Thomas Christopher Parks. Pavlina Mitkova Chaviakov. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Reading K through 12. Amanda Marie Devens. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts in Education in the field of Human Resource and Change Leadership. Mohammed Nasser Aldagaither. Sang Wan Byun. Jenna Ray Clay. Emma Dong. Jeffrey Robert Gatesmith. Jennifer Ann Haber. Melanie Ann Harper. Henry Casito. Claire Alyssa Lure. Gia Shu Lee. Raleigh Miller. Loanda Lindsay Morrow. Bethany Ann Olson. Jessica Ann Perez. Kelly Marie Peterson. Megan Ray Schultz. Rachel Ann Tesmer. Pa Hao Vang. Justin Allen Welk. Peng Yang Zong. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Education in the field of Socioeconomic Approach to Management. Christine Marie Ashim. Amy Carol Ann Fissler. have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in the field of Counseling Psychology. Zainab Alwin. Dominic Mensa Asim. Taylor Michael Breckering. Megan Bridget Blommer. Heather Jo Brackett. Tandeka Shanice. Andrew Philip Clemens. Colleen Cooper. Charlie Ray Crawford. Andrew Kevin Dolan. Emily Pokorski Goodman Erickson. Kirst Elizabeth Finzend. Peter George Freeberg. Margaret Ann Gillen. Kathleen M. Gubash. Jessica Margaret Haas. Eugene Lloyd Hall. Stephanie Joanne Himrick. Laura Elizabeth Hepner. Carly Halloran Jarvanen. Carrie Ellen Jones. Irene Ann Kruger. Carolyn Lee. Mark Christopher Martinez. Georgia Catherine Fike Nesbitt. Gabrielle Eden Nordstrom. Laura Jean Purdom. Holly J. Quist. Quinn Raldemar Ruff. Ala Fuan Sakala. Rebecca Hope Sawyer Smith. Heidi Rose Schwartz. Adrienne Davy Charma. J. Scott Sidor. Christine Lee Smith. Matthew Lee Sutera. Danielle Romero Teskey. Alyssa Marcella Vanderschaaf. Jessica Lynn Wagi. Jason Michael Walter. Mai Niha Zong. Bona Jahang.
Thank you. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the Master Degree of Arts in the field of art history. Abigail Hall Gilmore. Brady Patrick King. Nissa Yaomei Lee. Barbara C. Quaid Herrick. Catherine Tucker Sicker.
I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the Master of Arts in the field of Catholic Studies. Mary G. Burns. Rashana Chin. Danielle Marie Duet. John Thomas Gerke. Sarah J. Lippert. Teresa M. Naughton. Gabby M. Quillen, Jordan Patrick Spinharney,
I have the honor to present to the President, the University, the candidates for the degree of Master of Arts in the field of English. Erin Marie Heisler. Elizabeth Lynn Howard. Bryce Matthew Peterson.
I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the Master of Arts in the field of Music Education. Carly Hewen. Andrew Arthur Joseph Jensen. Matthew Marsalic. Tony Joseph Strang.
I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Arts in the field of Pastoral Ministry. James Charles Rice II. Jeremiah Norbert Saladin. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidate for the degree Master of Arts in the field of Religious Education, Carla K. Labor. I have the honor of presenting to the President of the University candidates for the degree Master of Arts in Theology, Jeff Dureski, Neil Curtis LeMay, I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Divinity, John Michael Powers.
I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree of Master of Manufacturing Systems Engineering, Hika K. Nono. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Electrical Engineering, Lawrence Bukania. Ahmad A. Garad. Sing Hong Young Pao. Peter Timothy Meyer. Eric Junga Shitumbekau. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Mechanical Engineering, Daniel Kusman Bissell. Joseph R. Applin. Mark Anthony Cripio. Thomas Joseph Fleck. Jonathan Nels Godmer. Eric Patrick Grutzschmittner. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Manufacturing Systems, Stephen Brewer Due Chinhan. Samuel Sablu Kaiser. Mai Hua Lee. Samendra S. Manandar. Christopher Mars Narveshan. Matthew Ellsworth. Dat B.A. Gwen. Megan Mary Reiner. Isaac Benjamin Reamer. Jonas B.N.E. Guchale. William Richard Swartz. Raphael Gam Tedji. I have the honor to present to the President of the University candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Regulatory Science, Dustin Gregory Andrist, Stephanie Jo Burkholz. I have the honor to present to the President of the University candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Systems Engineering, Philip G. Markule, Matthew Anthony Musich, Franklin Ola Wiley Oha Lani Yan, Daniel John Olson. I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Technology Management, Lyle Cecil Bungert, Michael Andrew Criswell, Gretchen Lewis King, Kent Matthew Kogler, Jennifer Lynn Siemens, Andrian Michael Thumpkins. I have the honor to present to the President of the University candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Information Technology, Amit Kumar Dubey, Anshu Gandotra, Derek Gilman, Madhavi Gurajada, Deepika Maragoni, Naga Dipti Nanapaneni, Suresh Devraj Paleri, Sri Kumar Paparao Pothula, Sonali S. Sathe, Resa Sakya, Abdullahi Yusuf Sheikh Noor, Manfred De Nde, Prachi Ravindra Palekar, Sumit Deva Srestha, Sudeep Thapa, Mei Vu, Wising You, Using You. I have the honor to present to the President of the University candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Software Engineering, Salam Al-Mayuhu, Faiz Masood Al-Mansur, Maryam Mala Al-Ruwa Wahati, Khaulad Abdullah Bendera, Christopher Allen Bryant, Lishan Carey Brunio, Elizabeth Ann Carol Anderson, Kimberly A. Kaywood, Craig Cunningham, Selamwiti Getahun Damte, Olga Didenko, Adam Michael Gallagher, Edward D. Grams, Christopher J. Hahan, John D. Hogg, Julie Anna Kalodes, Parastu Fatehi Karashik, Naram Kuach, Sichi Lam, Lowell Milton Larson, Jawang Leo, Sona Velayudun Manian, Christopher William Mission, Richard Martin Maidi, Namvelo Kohli Mayo, Amir Mujtaba Muhawes, Andrew John Munger, Aaron David Myers, Joyce Nain Thani, John Bosco Nambale, Duncan D. Ondala, Michael Wayne Palmer, Manju Pant, Ajiz Seremi, Adrian Simonesu, I don't know, Jeffrey Scott Smith, Chelong Wang, Vicky Thai Jiang, Yulin Yang, Jamil Suleiman Jiaran, Theodore J. Zhueg. I have the honor to present to the President of the University candidates for the degree of Master of Science in the field of Software Management, Maktal Ahmad, Paul Robert Dichor, Leonardo Catagio Iduhas, Sipra Gaur, Samuel Jeffrey Green, Isabella A. Menia, Stephanie Sarah Merrill, Jessica Ann Midura, Jody Peyton Miner, Ronnie Srestha. I have the honor to present to the President of the University candidates for the degree Master of Software Systems. Ritu Ahuja, she's already gone. Madhavi Vangala, Aristide M. Akoshan, Muhammad H. Bakri, Kaushal Kharkwal, Grishma Lama, Aswinder Singh Makkar, Quinn Hu, Leslie S. Bekele, Sandeep Kumar Namini, Hatim Ahmad Sadiq Sahain, Patrick P. Sanchez, Anand Kumar Sangwan, Vijay Kumar Gaud Sarikonda, Susil Kumar Sedhani, Dipti Tandon. I'm done.
I have the honor to present to the President of the University the candidates for the degree Master of Social Work, joint degree with St. Catherine University. Hamdi Hussein Adan. Ashley Ameg Agua. Claire Campbell Anderson. Emily Marie Axon. Lauren Elizabeth Bars. Krista Joy Basinger. Clara Naismith Burgundy. Jessica Marie Boner. Jeffrey Arnold Bornhoft. Jacob Brust. Jesse Virgil Buchner. Madeline Abbott Bush. Jolene Lynn Castillo. Ace Shai Chang. Anthony Jacob Christian. Mallory S. Clark. Rachel Ann Coates. Cheryl A. Cotton. Courtney Marin Coulter. Annalie Crispin Ballesteros. Jennifer A. Davis. Lori Ann Dobson. Bethany Mary Martha Dorr. Catherine Lynn Driscoll. Samantha Jo Drush.